Hello, everyone. Today we'll explore together one of the most tragic stories in Greek mythology, the story of Medusa, the woman who was once the most beautiful in the world but became humanity's most terrifying nightmare. This is not just a legend about the revenge of gods, but also a story about love, jealousy, and the price one pays for pride. Once upon a time, in an era when gods still walked the earth and directly intervened in human lives, there lived a girl named Medusa in a small village by the Mediterranean Sea. Medusa was not the daughter of kings or nobles, but nature had blessed her with a transcendent beauty that even goddesses would envy. Medusa's hair was long and flowing like golden waves, each strand seemingly woven from morning sunlight. Her eyes were clear as spring water, capable of enchanting anyone who looked into them. Her skin was white as pearls, smooth and flawless. Medusa's smile could make the most beautiful flowers wither, as they felt inferior before such allure. Every day, when Medusa stepped out of her house, the entire village seemed to stop. Men ceased their work to gaze upon her. Women whispered in jealousy, and children followed her like little birds following their mother. Medusa knew well the power of her beauty, and she did not hide her pride in it. "I am more beautiful than the moon in the sky," Medusa often told herself, while gazing at her reflection in the clear spring water. "I am more beautiful than the twinkling stars at night." But then pride began to grow in her heart like weeds. Medusa was no longer content with being praised only by common mortals. She began to crave comparison with the goddesses themselves. One morning, while bathing in the sacred spring near Athena's temple, Medusa saw her reflection on the water's surface, and a bold thought suddenly flashed through her mind. "People say Goddess Athena is the pinnacle of beauty and wisdom," Medusa thought to herself. "But has anyone ever seen the goddess to compare? I am certain that if we stood side by side, I would be more beautiful than Athena." This was not just self-satisfaction in her heart. During a festival honoring goddess Athena, before hundreds of people and priests, Medusa publicly declared, "I, Medusa, am confident that my beauty surpasses even goddess Athena. If the goddess has courage, let her come down here so we can compare." Those words echoed throughout the temple like thunder. The frightened people stepped back. The priests turned pale, knowing that no curse was more terrible than insulting the gods. On Mount Olympus, Athena, goddess of wisdom and war, sensed this audacious challenge. The goddess's gray eyes blazed with anger, not because she was compared in beauty, but because of the arrogance and disrespect of a mortal who dared challenge the divine. "She wants to know the price of pride," Athena said in a voice cold as ice. "I will show her." News of Medusa's challenge quickly spread throughout the mythological world. Among those who heard was Poseidon, god of the sea, brother of Zeus, and one of the most powerful gods of Olympus. Poseidon had long been famous as a god with an impulsive nature who could not resist the beauty of women. When he heard about Medusa, the girl who dared claim she was more beautiful than a goddess, Poseidon's curiosity was aroused. One full moon night, when Medusa was walking alone on the beach, the waves suddenly became unusual. They no longer gently lapped the sandy shore as usual, but seemed to be dancing to some mysterious melody. From the heart of the sea, a tall figure slowly emerged. It was Poseidon, with a beard white as sea foam, eyes blue and deep as the ocean, and in his hand the powerful trident that could control all waves. "So this is the girl who dares challenge a goddess," Poseidon said, his voice like the sound of crashing waves. "I want to see if your beauty is truly as extraordinary as rumored." Medusa, though frightened when facing a god, still could not hide her pride in her beauty. She stood straight, letting the moonlight illuminate her beauty in full. Poseidon looked at Medusa and was truly enchanted. Her beauty lay not only in her appearance, but also in that confidence and pride. In the heart of the sea god, a powerful emotion ignited. "You are truly beautiful," Poseidon admitted, "so beautiful that I cannot resist." What happened next would forever change Medusa's fate. Poseidon, enchanted by her beauty, could not control himself. Despite them standing near Athena's sacred temple, despite this being a holy place that must not be defiled, Poseidon did the unforgivable. Medusa pleaded. She screamed the names of other gods for help, but no one answered. In the world of gods, power was everything, and Poseidon was one of the most powerful gods. When everything was over, Medusa sat crying in Athena's temple, begging the goddess to protect her. She did not know that Poseidon's actions not only harmed her, but were also a direct challenge to Athena. Athena's temple was a sacred place, a symbol of purity and wisdom. Poseidon's defilement of her temple made Athena feel deeply insulted. But Athena could not directly punish Poseidon. He was Zeus's brother and had power equal to hers in the mythological world. Instead, the goddess's anger fell upon the poor girl who had dared challenge her and allowed her temple to be defiled. Athena appeared before Medusa as she knelt crying in the temple. The goddess in silver armor, with cold gray eyes, showed no mercy. "Medusa," Athena said, her voice like clashing metal, "you dared challenge me about beauty, and now you have allowed my temple to be defiled. You must pay the price." "But goddess," Medusa pleaded, "I am not at fault. It was Poseidon who—" "Silence," Athena shouted. "You wanted to compare beauty with me? You wanted attention? I will give you what you want, but not in the way you expect." Athena raised her hand, and an eerie light emanated from the goddess's palm. "I curse you, Medusa. From now on, you will become a horrifying creature that no one dares look upon. Your beautiful hair will turn into venomous snakes. Your hands will become hard as bronze. Your nails sharp as blades. And most importantly, anyone who looks into your eyes will turn to stone instantly." Medusa felt her body begin to change. Terrible pain spread throughout her body as the curse took effect. Her golden hair slowly transformed into small snakes, writhing and hissing in agony. Her skin became gray and hardened. Her once clear eyes now emanated a terrifying light. "No!" Medusa screamed, but it was too late. Athena looked at her work with cold satisfaction. "But I am not completely useless. You will never be able to harm any other woman. Only men will turn to stone when looking into your eyes. That is the last gift I give you." When the magical light faded, Medusa was completely transformed. She was no longer a beautiful woman, but had become a horrifying creature, a Gorgon. Medusa ran home, but when her mother saw her, the old woman was so shocked she fainted. Neighbors who saw her from afar all fled in panic. Only women dared approach to help, as they knew Medusa could not harm them. "My daughter, what has happened to you?" Medusa's mother cried when she awoke. Medusa recounted the entire story, from her bold challenge to being attacked by Poseidon, and finally Athena's curse. The old mother wept bitterly, not only for her daughter's appearance, but for what she had endured. From that day, Medusa was forced to live in solitude. She moved to a cave in the mountains, far from everyone. Each day, she could only see herself through water reflections, and each time she cried. The snakes on her head hissed constantly, as if sharing her pain. Her bronze hands could no longer caress or comfort anyone. But most painful were her eyes. The eyes once compared to pearls had now become deadly weapons. Years passed, and the reputation of Medusa, the Gorgon monster, spread everywhere. Stories about her were told with all kinds of horrifying details. People said that just looking into her eyes for 1 second, any man would turn to stone instantly. Medusa lived in her cave, surrounded by stone statues. All men who had accidentally or intentionally looked into her eyes. There were hunters who wanted to kill her for fame, curious people who wanted to see if Medusa was really as rumored, and even men who had loved her before, unable to believe she had changed so much. All became stone. Medusa learned to live with her curse. She always kept her head down when moving. Only women dared approach to bring food or chat. These women understood that Medusa was not a natural monster, but a victim of the gods' cruelty. "Why don't you take revenge on Athena?" a young girl asked Medusa during one visit. Medusa sadly shook her head. "I am just a mortal. How can I fight against a goddess? Moreover, perhaps I deserve punishment for my arrogance." "But you did nothing wrong when Poseidon—" "In the world of gods," Medusa said bitterly, "justice does not always exist. The weak must always pay for the sins of the strong." Despite becoming a monster, Medusa kept her kind heart. She never intentionally harmed anyone, always warning men who wandered to her cave. She lived like a hermit, only going out at night to find food or water. What was special was that Athena's curse prevented Medusa from harming any woman. This was perhaps the only good thing in her tragic fate. Medusa became a protector for women who had been hurt by men. There were girls fleeing forced marriages, abused women, or frightened young girls who all sought Medusa Cave for protection. Medusa welcomed them all, sharing shelter and food with them. "Don't fear me, children," Medusa told the first women who came to her. "I cannot harm you. Consider this your home." Gradually, a small community of only women formed around Medusa Cave. They farmed, raised animals, and protected each other together. Medusa became a mother, a sister to them all. But this happiness did not last forever. The story of Perseus, the heroic young man with the mission to kill Medusa and take her head as a wedding gift, has been told many times in Greek mythology. But few know that for Medusa, Perseus was not a hero, but the one who would end her already painful life. Perseus came with full divine weapons: Athena's reflective shield, Hermes' winged sandals, Hades' invisibility cap, and a sharp sword that could cut through anything. All the gods wanted Medusa dead, except the mortal women she had protected. When Perseus approached the cave, the women living with Medusa tried to protect her. "Young man, please leave," an old woman cried out. "Medusa is not the monster you think. She is our protector." But Perseus had been told too many stories about Medusa's danger. He would not listen. Medusa sensed Perseus's presence from afar. She knew this day would come, the day when someone brave enough and powerful enough would come to kill her. Instead of running away, Medusa decided to face her fate. "Children, go far away," she told the women. "I don't want you to be hurt." The final battle took place in absolute silence. Perseus used the reflective shield to look at Medusa without looking directly into her eyes. Medusa, with her bronze hands and blade-sharp nails, fought with all her remaining strength. But she knew she would lose, not because Perseus was stronger, but because she was tired of this life, tired of loneliness, tired of living like a monster, tired of fearful and hateful looks. When Perseus's sword struck down, Medusa did not dodge. In the final moment, she thought of the beautiful days when she was still a normal girl, of the golden hair that had been her pride, of dreams of love and happiness she would never have. When Medusa's head fell to the ground, from her blood flew Pegasus, the pure white-winged horse, symbol of the freedom Medusa never had in her entire life. The story of Medusa did not end with her death. Medusa's head, even when severed, retained its petrifying power. Perseus used it as a weapon, and later it was mounted on Athena's shield. But the women Medusa had protected never forgot her kindness. They told the true story of Medusa, not as a monster, but as a wronged woman who paid the price for others' sins. In many later cultures, Medusa's image became a symbol of women's power, of those who were mistreated but remained strong and survived. She was no longer a monster, but a hero, one who endured the world's cruelty, but still kept her compassion. Perhaps that is the true story of Medusa, not about a monster that needed to be destroyed, but about a woman who chose to live decently even in the worst circumstances.